Welcome, Pewter Report readers and listeners and viewers, to another edition of the Pewter Report podcast, Energized by Celsius. I am John Ledyard from pewterreport.com. Along with me today, the one and only Scott Reynolds, also of pewterreport.com. And despite our jovial tune, it was not a great night for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They lost by a lot. What was it, 34-3?
34-3, yes.
I don't think they crossed the 30-yard line tonight, Scott, in Titans territory. That's the kind of stuff that'll happen when your starters don't play. That's the kind of stuff that'll happen when you drop the football. And yeah, it was a pretty all-around ugly night for the Bucs on offense. And on defense, it wasn't great either. Maybe later in the game got worse, but still good things to take away from this matchup that I'm excited to talk about. But I'm sure we're going to start with the ugly as we usually do. We got to get things off.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to channel my inner Bruce Arians here and say that was a complete shit show. I mean, that was awful. 34-3. It was just a terrible night of football in general, and not just for the Buccaneers. It was also a horrible night for the referees. I mean, for the officials to call the Tanner Hudson fumble, to me, it looked like he caught the ball, made a football move, was being tackled, and the ball was jarred loose when he hit the ground. I agree with Bruce Arians. I don't think that was a scoop and score for the Titans, but that's not the way the refs looked at it. I think we've seen poor officiating now for the second week in a row. But, John, we've also seen a lot of things for the second week in a row. We've seen really crappy quarterback play. We've seen a terrible running game from the Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. We've seen god-awful special teams coverage.
Yep.
And we've seen a ton of missed tackles. And thankfully, most of the players that played tonight won't be on this team.
That's true. Good point. And we'll talk a lot about that tonight. And we'll talk about what's important and what isn't important, because not all the failures tonight are important. They just aren't. Most of the failures tonight are not important.
Yes.
But we'll talk about ones that should be concerning you and what shouldn't be concerning you. And not only that, what to get really excited about. Because to me, even though the scoreboard was terrible and some execution things were terrible, and we will talk about that.
I'm excited for September 9th, John. Hit the fast forward button. That's what I'm excited about.
Me too.
Season opener with competent starters, with the defending Super Bowl championship football team, in a better roster than this team showed tonight. That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, me too. And I'm excited for next preseason game as well, Scott, because we know the starters will play a good bit in that one. Yeah. And I think it's very important that they look much better than the team has looked over the last two preseason games.
I'd like to see a running game, John. Yeah. Give me a running game.
I'd like to see that too. And if the running game, maybe if they inhaled a few Celsius before the game, they would have been better off, Scott, because you've got your Celsius. It's powering you through this evening. Yes, I'm going to try and bring one into the stadium from now on, because I'm going to need one. I feel good actually right now, but Celsius always helps me. It powers active lives every day with essential functional energy. The tropical vibe is the newest flavor. It is a terrific flavor. Celsius for all of us has really changed the game, giving us the energy that we need without the drop off. No sugar. It's healthy stuff. It's great for you. It accelerates your metabolism. It burns body fat. It's great for an exercising, fit lifestyle, which is something Scott and I aspire to. It's been very, very helpful for us.
John more than I, for sure.
I don't know about that, but
I will say this. Today I went on Amazon. I clicked on the Pewter Report banners. I went to Amazon and I ordered a case of the orange, which is my favorite flavor, and a case of the watermelon, which is Ashley, Mrs. Reynolds, Mrs. Pewter Reports, her favorite flavor. And I did the subscribe and save. I saved 5% on the order, and I'm going to have that shipped to me every single month. So that's a great way to save a little bit of money on your Celsius, is to buy it in bulk on Amazon and have it shipped to you with the subscribe and save.
Absolutely. So make sure you go to Celsius.com, check out those things, do the Amazon thing, get the subscribe and save. Just did that myself for a buddy of mine. It's great stuff. Celsius is the way to go, man. It's going to change the game for y'all. Already got people. Number one, Peach Vibe. Peach Vibe, very popular.
Peach Vibe is very good. That's the top five for me. Yeah.
Great choice. You know what else is the top five for me? Well, actually, let's start with the bottom five. Should we go negative first? I don't know. I don't want to go right to positive after a game like that. But let's start negative. Yeah, okay. Things we should actually be concerned about from this game. Dropping the football. I'm not going to go on and on and on about it, because I've already gone on and on and on about it. I've written about it. I've talked about it. I've podcasted about it. I've tweeted about it. it's just ridiculous, Scott. Like you catch the freaking football,
especially OJ Howard. That was disappointing. Okay.
And it's not, and it was tonight. It was bad because it was him twice, and he blew protection. He wasn't good in the run game, and he just there's no way to cut it. I've been an OJ Howard. I've been trying to maintain the hope for him. He was horrible tonight, horrible.
Yes.
And so, I mean, it's got a lot of rust to shake off. Bruce Arians is dead right about that. It can also be frustrating, the fact that he doesn't look better than he's looked, and it's going to take some time for him. I think Cam Brate should get opportunities to play over him until he's ready.
No doubt. And I thought it was really interesting because I was curious if Bruce Arians was going to come out and rip OJ tonight, but he did the exact opposite. I think he kind of shrugged off the night. Well, he rebounded. He caught those 3 balls, but those were 3 easy catches. Those were underneath catches to make. Right. Every receiver, running back, tight end should make the catches he made. But the ones that he dropped, those were the first round draft pick type catches that you have to make. Those are the type of catches you have to make when the team picks up your 5th-year option. When you want a big contract extension, not a 1-year, $2 million deal, which honestly he might get if he didn't start catching the ball and blocking better. Those are the catches you have to make. But I thought it was interesting that Bruce Arians came out, John, really with the kid gloves. I think it was to keep OJ's confidence up. But honestly, I don't know how confident that he is. We've seen him drop a ton of passes in training camp. He really is struggling, I think, with the mental aspect of the game right now, coming back from that injury. You even saw one time in a run blocking play where he didn't hold up well at the point of attack. He got pushed back a little bit, and he kind of like hopped on his foot to kind of protect that Achilles, I think. And I'm not sure if it's still bothering him or if it's just kind of a phantom thing now that's in his head, but he is not playing well. And I'm with you. In my opinion, Cam Brate is the clear number 2 tight end on this team. OJ Howard, he still has a ways to go. And he's not in any danger of not making the team, John, but what he's in danger of is not putting up a lot of production this year unless things turn around quickly for him, because he'll be buried on the depth chart, and then he's not going to be re-signed by Tampa Bay.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting so far ahead of ourselves even to talk about drops being an issue for him in the regular season. I'm not saying that they will or won't be. I know that in the past it's happened. It hasn't necessarily been the biggest issue for him, but it still could be an issue. And so we'll see with him. I think tonight was just bad, and you would like to see better from a guy coming back from injury. We'll see how that progresses with him, obviously, but it's been a very uninspiring offseason so far. And I think Cam Brate is obviously as reliable, and he's what he is. And the thing is, if OJ Howard's not going to give you something as a blocker, then why bother with all the other weapons that you have? It's not like you can't get explosive play somewhere else. And so you just have to make sure that you are getting completions when you target that position, and Brate can give you that maybe more assuredly than OJ Howard. So it'll be a discussion we need to have as we continue to see how he'll play a lot in the 3rd preseason game. He played a lot tonight, played the whole first half. They're trying to get him back in the mode of playing. He did catch the ball better later in the game, and he turned upfield and fought for some extra yardage. And again, I know I see people saying he's apathetic and he's uninterested. It's easy go-to with OJ Howard because he's not like a crazy fiery guy, but I don't like go there at all.
I'm rooting for OJ.
Yeah,
I've got to call it like I see it.
Yeah, right. It's apathy is a totally different story than not playing well. I just want to be clear on that, where we stand on that.
Yep.
So anyway, OJ Howard. The other thing that doesn't concern me, Scott, is the play of Ryan Griffin and Cal Trask. If Ryan Griffin and Cal Trask have to play this season, the Bucs are absolutely scred. Before they play the game, they're screwed.
Yeah.
So I mean, the fact that both of them are horrible right now.
Yeah,
that's not a big deal to me. I know that it's ugly when you watch a game, and that's 3/4 of the game, and I get it. Here's the thing: Bruce Arians' offense is not easy for quarterbacks. It's not. So other quarterbacks around the league that are QB3s, there's all kinds of design, gimmicky throws and easy completions. And I said this all last year when Brady was going through what he was going through, whatever you want to call it, in the middle of the season. It's just a very hard offense for a quarterback. Yes, it makes what Brady did that much more impressive. Also, it's going to make bad quarterbacks look horrible most of the time. I mean, look at the guys that Bruce Arians has had as his quarterbacks where he's been. It's a ballers-only club. That's what it is. You don't have guys coming off the bench balling in this system. It's taking Gabbard a while to get to the point where he played well, and he played well tonight, by the way. Scott, I know you want to talk about that, and I give him credit for that because the offense is that way. And I know it was only 3 drives, but he's 3 for 6, and all 3 incompletions were drops, and Not only that, I thought they were pretty solid. They were really well-placed throws, and a couple of them were tough. The one to Darden was low and away, exactly where it should be. The lofted one to O.J. Howard came out of his hand all weird, but it kind of dropped right in there. It was a nice catchable ball. And then the last one Howard dropped was just right down the seam, wide open, but it was perfectly placed, right in stride, no adjustment needed, and he dropped it anyway. So hats off to Blaine Gabbard for sure, but Ryan Griffin, Cal Trask look horrible. I'm not concerned about it, but if the Bucs get to a QB3, they ain't winning.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you can have all the weapons in the world, but you know,
I mean, long term, should we be concerned about Cal Trask? I'm not ready to say that yet.
No,
but I'm talking about right now. He's bad, and it doesn't matter.
Correct. Well, yes, and to be fair to Kyle Trask, and this is different from other Buccaneer quarterbacks that have been draft picks, right? Even Mike Lennon, when he was drafted in 2013, he was the backup quarterback to Josh Freeman. So he was getting the number 2 reps all the way through camp and everything. Yeah. And in the preseason. And you got to remember that because Kyle Trask has not gotten the number 2 reps. There's been practices. I mean, the first Titans practice, he didn't even throw the ball, right? On Wednesday's practice, he didn't even see any reps. And he has just not gotten the reps because the third string reps have really gone to Ryan Griffin. So the plan is not to play Kyle Trask this year. It just isn't. And so as a result, he hasn't even gotten the work. So he's not going to look good in these games. And honestly, he's looked better in some of these games than he has in practice. I like the fact he's taking shots down the field, you know. I mean,
he's definitely not afraid to do that. No question about that.
The 26-yard pass to Tanner Hudson where he allegedly fumbled. I mean, that was a hell of a throw. It was a nice deep seam shot, and we haven't really seen that much in practice because he just hasn't gotten a lot of reps. But
the whole thing is work in progress. The whole thing is so fast for him right now. And again, like I know people want to hear about Trask, so we'll talk about him. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if Trask plays this year, season's over. Like that's just what it is. Like I know people don't want to hear that, but I mean, honestly, I say this. I honestly don't think because of how much this offense puts on the quarterback position. Even if Blaine Gabbard played, I don't think the Bucs would win more than 6 games. Like I really don't. I know.
Oh, come on now.
I'm sorry.
John.
I shouldn't have said that. He played well tonight. I apologize. That's my bad. Listen, we got to change the topic.
he's the best rated quarterback in the preseason for the Bucs right now. Even Tom Brady. So
he played well tonight for sure. I give him credit. His team absolutely fell on their faces. Did not stand up for him at all. The Bucs starting game slowly. Yeah. Is another concern I have. It's big that they come out in that third preseason game and do not start slow. They don't get into that crap that bothered you last year.
Yes. And what concerns me about the running game is not the fact that the starters have only really played 6 snaps. Mm-hmm. It's just that the run scheme is so predictable. And John, you've kind of beaten this drum for a long time now, and I'm going to continue to beat it. It's not even the personnel that's in there. And by the way, Keyshawn Vaughn, I know he doesn't have much room to run.
9 carries, 18 yards. That's not good, Scott.
Do not see what the hype is all about.
A 5-yard run is the long.
Okay, now here's the thing. Like everyone, including Bruce Arians, is raving about the 22 or 25 or 35 mile per hour run he had down there as a gunner. Okay, that's one play. And he didn't even make the tackle as a gunner. I mean, he made the play, but he didn't make the tackle. But I want to see the guy, like if he's supposedly that fast, he should be averaging more than 13 yards per kickoff return. He should be averaging more than 2 yards per rush attempt.
Those mile per hour things those mile per hour things are so useless. Like I don't know how or why they are, but they just are like. What do they tell? They don't do anything.
It's the new gimmick, John. It's the new stat nerd gimmick.
I just never see it actually matter. Oh, he hit this on this play. Well, great, but he's not fast. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I'm not saying the number thing is wrong. He's just not fast. I know it.
He's sure as hell not hitting 22 miles per hour on any run, catch, or kick return that I've seen. So it doesn't matter.
And it's not all him. You're right. The run scheme is predictable. It is what it is. They tried some different things tonight. I mean, nothing was hitting. It was bad. It was ugly. It was horrible. It's a backup O-line. It's guys playing different positions too. Yeah. I mean, You've got Nick Leverett playing center. He barely even played center in practice.
I know. God,
I mean, that like
poor Nick Leverett.
Right.
He's played left tackle. He's played center. Like put them in guard for God's sake.
And that should be mentioned too, Scott. Every single snap tonight on offense it started poorly from the start because every single time Leverett got the snap back slow. Like if it was a regular under center exchange, you notice like it was a half beat off. Like Gabbard fell because he was already trying to get out of there and he had to wait and hold on to the ball. And that was just all night. The timing just was bad all night. Right. So like even the shotgun snaps, which were simpler for him probably than the quarterback center exchanges, but they were all like lobbed, right? Yeah. So it was an extra half second, and that's everything of football. So it was all bad from the start, no question. Offensively, how much can we glean from it? I don't know.
Nick Leverett is the emergency center, and you saw the emergency tonight. Okay, it's right. Robert Hainsey is the backup center. He's out. The third center is John Molchon. He's out. Okay, so this
Donnell Stanley was the third center. He's gone.
That's true. That's correct. He's gone. So you're talking about the fifth string center now. Yeah, fifth string in Nick Leverett, and I give the kid an A for effort because
for sure. I mean, he only flubbed one snap. Completely all night.
It was not an A for execution, but an A for effort.
Right.
Another guy.
Josh Wells. Can we talk? Are you going to talk about him? Okay, go ahead.
Just because I've been a known Cyril Grayson hater, I've got to come clean. Cyril Grayson, I agree with IT. He had the best game I've ever seen from Cy Grayson. Low bar, but
he made the best catch I've ever seen him make on that combat catch down the sideline.
You saw the group chat text.
Yeah, you said "what" in all capital letters.
Could not believe it.
He did come back and like drop the post route later. It was a good throw by Travis. Travis' best throw of the game, I thought. Was that
he's Sour Grayson. He's not going to catch everything.
Right. It was good defense too, but Cyril played okay, and Bruce shouted him out after the game. Practice squad shot. Man. Josh Wells played well. Like he played really well. And here's why I freak out about the result of this game. Who are the players you most wanted to see play well on offense?
Blaine
Gabbard. Okay, good point. You're right. You're right. Completely right. OJ Howard, you're right. Did not play well. Failure there. Blaine Gabbard played well. Josh Wells, right? He's your top offensive line backup. He's your third tackle. You always want your third tackle to be your best backup. Played great all night. Aaron Stinney played fine. A couple times got pushed back. That's always going to be the case with him. He's a small guard.
Alex Kappa did not play well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small sample size. I think Ryan Griffin was talking about that sack after the game, and he was saying it was on the running back. So I have to go check what he's saying. And
it might have been. It certainly might have been a blown protection by the back. All I know is Alex Kappa had his back. He was looking at the quarterback. He had his back turned to the defense, which is never a good thing as an offensive lineman. The linebacker ran right by him, right up the middle, and sacked him. So
I think that part of it's playing with people that he hasn't played with, right? And so there was some miscommunication on a blitz in a game or whatever.
It's a chemistry issue up front. There's no doubt about it. It's not five guys playing. It's
which will happen.
Which will happen. It's a fist.
Right. But Gabbard, Tyler Johnson, Josh Wells, Aaron Stinney, those were all guys on offense, right? And even Tanner Hudson, the fumble was not a fumble in my opinion. I agree with you, and it was fine. But like those guys are who you really wanted to see play well tonight, right? And they played well. And then after that, everybody else played pretty bad. Like I would like to see Darden play better. He dropped the ball. He fumbled the punt. I don't know if he was down or not, but he doesn't look really great on returns yet. But the blocking's so bad. Who the heck can tell? I have no idea. But overall, offensively, those are the guys, right? Those are the backups that matter this year, right?
And John, you mentioned Tyler Johnson. I want to stop on him for a second because this is a guy who was in the doghouse coming into training camp. So much so that Bruce Arians publicly called him out twice to the media. Okay, I mean that's legit.
Yeah, for his
kudos to Tyler Johnson for losing the weight, getting in shape, and not just losing the weight, getting in shape, but literally catching almost everything thrown his way, sometimes in dramatic fashion. This guy, in my opinion, is picking up where he left off last year from that New Orleans game, making that tremendous catch. And I think he is going to be wide receiver 5 over Jalen Darden because he's just a more consistent guy. He can do more in the slot and help win the running game and all of that. So in my opinion right now, Jalen Darden has been he's fizzled out from the hype, I think, and has not made the most of his opportunities. And I think that Jaden Mickens is still the best return guy in this team.
No question. Totally agree with you. Completely agree with you. I don't know what they're going to do there. We still need to see more than Darden in that regard. It's not like Darden's been bad. He had a good return tonight that was wiped out by a hold that I didn't think influenced the return.
Yeah.
So I mean, he has potential for sure. But there's something about the reliability of what Jaden Mickens brought to the table. Such a smart guy on special teams.
Right.
It doesn't make mistakes. I really value that.
I mean, and you even saw Darden tonight, right? He tried to do a little too much, fumbled the ball. That could have been disastrous on his second punt return.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, again, I'm still really excited about Jalen Darden, but you're right. Right now, Tyler Johnson has gotten back to where he was. That's encouraging. That doesn't always happen when guys come to camp out of shape. It can be downhill fast from there. And so kudos to him for getting it together. And he looks like I think he'll split wide receiver 4 reps with Scotty Miller, honestly. And right now, Arians doesn't seem to care if they play on special teams, really. So they're not gonna probably. So they could. Bucs Time 12 says, who do we cut to keep 7 receivers? Probably your 4th tight end. That's a possibility. We'll talk about defense in a second, but there's a couple different options. Bucs Time 12 that could get you there, but I think most of them are involved the tight end for sure. Okay, so offensively, Scott, we kind of addressed. I really think the players that needed to play well were the bright spots for the most part tonight, other than maybe O.J. Howard and Jalen Darden. Yeah. And, guys he wanted to play well, like Kyle Trask, okay, well, he didn't, but, you don't need him to play well this season. So I think that there's something that can be taken away from that offensively as encouragement. Most of the reason why you're frustrated and pissed off right now as a Bucs fan doesn't have to do with guys that will play in 2021.
That's true.
Let's flip to defense. We saw some really good things from the defense tonight, I think. I mean, the game, I know the score doesn't indicate that, but defensive touchdown, bunch of short fields. Yeah. Ugly all around in some ways in that regard.
How about that guy right there?
Dude, I'm taking the L right now, Scott. I never do this in preseason. I never do it. He is going to be way better than my grade on him. He just is. And I know I was evaluating 2019 tape, and I get it.
If you're listening to the audio version, we're talking about Joe
Tryon Shoyinka. Yes,
that's how he's being known as now.
Right. I think he clearly spent the whole period of time where he wasn't playing football, the opt-out year.
Yeah,
just growing as a pass rusher. First
no
step,
doubt,
hands, timing. It's unbelievable. I mean, most guys can't miss football like that and grow. I don't think. Maybe they can, and maybe we're about to find out.
Point, John. That's a fantastic point, because
he's going to change guys the way that they come out.
He does not look at all like the guy that was lined up in 2019 in a Washington Huskies uniform. He just doesn't. He looks so polished now. I mean, I saw a dip and rip. I saw a long arm. I saw a bull rush. I'm waiting for the push and pull. I mean, this guy has got an arsenal of moves, and you can tell he is soaking up the knowledge, not just from Larry Foote, the outside linebackers coach, but from Jason Pierre-Paul, from Shaq Barrett. I mean, this guy is getting schooled, and he is a willing pupil. This guy is taking notes. Mm-hmm. He is studying. He is doing everything, because he is going to be a factor and a force on third downs this year. What you're saying at Bucs practice, you're seeing Tryon come in on third downs or nickel rush situations.
Right.
They kick Jason Pierre-Paul inside. And Pierre-Paul's a dangerous inside rusher against guards that just can't keep up with the speed. So this nickel rush package with Shaq Barrett on one side, Joe Tryon on the other, and then Jason Pierre-Paul inside with either Vita Vea or Ndamukong Suh. I mean, it's gonna be a potent nickel rush package.
Listen, dude, I'm just being honest with you. You know me. I wait. I don't take L's early. I don't take W's early either on prospects and players. I just wish that he played in college football so I could have seen, this is just a different dude. And the fact that he jumped this quickly, and the fact that from last week to this week, his run defense was so much better. The way he played leverages was way better. He was way more active in recognizing things, finding the ball, getting to the ball. He had 3 tackles outside of a sack. I mean, I just thought he played really, really well, but it's not even the results. It's just looking at him. It doesn't – edge rusher is easy, right? If you can explode and you can bend and you can move, and you're physical, you're going to win. You're going to win, and that's it. It doesn't matter. You could be a horrible run defender your whole career, and it doesn't matter.
It's just like Nate Pitts says. I mean, he plowed through Dylan Radins the second-round pick of the Titans. Just put him on his ass. And to me, that's what's exciting is not just the speed, but the speed to power. It's not just the bend, but it's the strength to go along with it too. And this kid is just getting started. I mean, it's going to be exciting to see what he can do.
Right.
And I've kind of been thinking 5 or 6 sacks for this kid this year as a designated pass rusher in that DPR role. Listen, man, the sky's the limit. I wouldn't be shocked. Now, I'm not predicting it's going to happen. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if he ends up leading the team in sacks. And the reason why I say that is because Mark Anderson out of Alabama was I think a day 3 pick for the Bears. Now, he never really amounted to anything. He was just a DPR, but as a rookie, I think he had 12.5 sacks. So sometimes you have that kind of anomaly type of situation. And, listen, teams are going to be focusing still on Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul because they are the known pass rushers. They're the guys that have made the mark in the NFL, and Tryon's going to sneak up on people. He just is.
Scott, when I was watching Tryon Shoyinka play tonight, I was just kind of typing on Twitter, and I try not to jump to conclusions. Anybody who's followed me for any length of time knows I take it easy. But when a guy moves and bends like that at full speed, every snap consistently, doesn't matter. I mean, Raduns couldn't even block him. And during halftime, right before halftime, after the Titans kicked that field goal, Teron Davenport from ESPN comes over to me in the press box and he leans down and he says, it's a pretty good first half, but the Titans are going to have to figure out how the heck to block number 9 because that guy is unbelievable. I was like, buddy, like you're seeing, and he liked him coming out, and I knew Teron and I talked about him, and my goodness, man. I mean, he looks like a real player, not just a good player, but it could be a special type of ceiling for him. And I told you this right away about Tristan Wirfs too. He's the other one, and I hesitate to put somebody on that level, but I remember texting you after the first game I saw Tristan Wirfs play against Cam Jordan. I was like, I don't think Tristan Wirfs is going to be good. I think he's going to be special, Scott. Yeah. And so it looks that way for both those guys some more. So we'll see.
And here's the thing, John, they got him at number 32.
Yeah,
right?
That's ridiculous. I mean, that's huge. Okay, Pat O'Connor.
And by the way, I mean, we also had him at number 32 in our Bucs mock draft on Pewter Report. So our Pewter Report loyal draft nicks out there, the people that read us around draft time, we're not surprised.
Yeah,
by Joe
almost
Tryon.
like we know stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we had him in the mock draft, we had him as a Bucs best bet, and he's really good. So imagine that.
Yeah. Pat O'Connor, man, what a performance.
O'Connor.
Like we say all this about Joe Tryon, and obviously his ceiling is light years beyond Pat O'Connor, but Pat O'Connor was probably the best player in this game tonight.
Yeah.
Like what
he was. He was.
A couple tackles for loss and a sack.
Absolute handful.
I mean, he forced a bunch of other tackles for loss too. He was amazing.
He really did. What I liked about him, and you and I were on the exact same wavelength watching the same play, it wasn't even so much the penetration that he got, the sack that he got. It was a play where he was getting double teamed, and sometimes it's an instantaneous decision. And I remember teaching this to my Pop Warner kids, my Pee Wee football kids. Back at South Pasco Predators as a defensive line coach. When you feel that double team, the first thing you got to do is you got to anchor. Like sometimes it's dropping to a knee and just holding your gap. That's exactly what Pat O'Connor did. And listen, Will Golston's over 300 pounds, right? I mean, Jeremiah Ledbetter is around 300 pounds. Pat O'Connor is about 280. Okay. He is. And he first got to Tampa, I think he was around 250, 255. So he's put on some muscle, but he does not have a big frame. He's kind of maxed out.
Yeah.
But he plays with such want to and vigor. And sometimes that's better than size. And he didn't have the size to make that play, but yet he still made it. He anchored, took on the double team, put his knee in the ground, his shoulder in between those two guys, held the gap. I was like, damn, Pat, go, man.
Yeah, he played great in multiple capacities, right? You want a first step. If you're that size and you're going to play inside, be it 3 technique or 1, whatever, you have to have a first step. If you don't win with your first step, you're just going to get carried wherever.
John, we've got some breaking news.
Oh, do we?
We do.
Hope it's good.
Right there. That guy made the team, according to Bruce Arians.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Bruce Arians did say that, yes. He said Pat O'Connor made the team tonight. He said Grant Stewart maybe made the team tonight. We'll see. Talk about Grant Stewart in a second. But, Pat O'Connor, I mean, even on his pass rush, it's like a quick move, right? Like he's winning quick. I mean, that – and I'll talk about Khalil Davis too in this same breath,
Yes.
Scott, because if, again, I do the same thing I just did on offense. If you were a Bucs fan going into this game tonight, you didn't care about the score. You cared about seeing if a certain number of players played well, right? Guys who will matter for this season.
Yes.
Joe Tryon is one of those players. Joe Tryon-Shanko obviously is one of those players. Khalil Davis is one of those players, and he played great tonight. He was a great game for Khalil Davis. He continues to get better. He knows what his role is going to be. He's working at it. Pat O'Connor probably wouldn't have been even on your list, but he played great. So there's another one that you really,
Right.
guy that's going to make the team.
Yeah, and
played well
he's a core special teamer. He will run down on kickoffs. He will.
He plays on all four phases.
Yeah, he'll block punts.
Kickoffs.
He blocked a punt at Denver last
return.
year.
And so those guys, Kevin Minter, who's your third linebacker,
That's
was
right.
one of the best players tonight, and so much better than Joe Jones and KJ Britt and Grant Stewart, who we'll get to in a little bit. He did play well. Antonio Hamilton, who's probably going to be your fifth corner.
Yep.
He played great tonight. Pass breakup was right there on another catch that he allowed. It was just a great catch. Was right there. Good run defender. I mean, I can't believe his run defense. Like blitzes, like he's gotten a little bit of everything. I've been really impressed with him. I don't think he's a great athlete, but man, he is feisty and physical and smart. He's a great fit, I think. So good find again by Jason Light with him. So, I mean, like those are guys you wanted to see play well, right? Yeah, Ross Cockrell missed a couple tackles. He's probably not going to be a safety. Nobody's thrown downfield against the Bucs at all, by the way, in 2 games. So, like, we haven't seen like one vertical ball, I feel like.
Right.
But, so maybe Cockrell's not a safety, but you feel fine about him at corner still. And then, so again, like who you wanted to see play well and who you needed to see play well for the most part, play well. It's the other guys who, in the execution.
Well, the thing about Cockrell and the thing about Grant Stewart too is he's a guy that had 6 tackles tonight. He's feisty, he's scrappy, he's got some pretty good speed running straight line in terms of running down on punts and kickoffs. He had a sack tonight. He made the most of his opportunities, and I think that I've seen KJ Britt not do that. I've seen him miss some tackles. Yeah, and I think Britt was probably linebacker 4 coming into the game tonight. The big news after the game, Bruce Arians said Grant Stewart might have made the game tonight. Of course,
might have made the team.
Might have made the team. They're going to go back and look at the game film and determine that. But remember, linebacker 4 is not really going to play much on defense. Linebacker 4 is really all about special teams, and I think maybe they like the vigor that they've seen from Stewart, the playmaking ability, and that might give him the edge right now. But the thing is, John, he is an underdog. Ross Cockrell is an underdog, right?
Yes.
What else is an underdog?
Underdog Fantasy. It's the place to play for all your for all your fantasy needs. UnderdogFantasy.com. Use this promo code Pewter, PEWTER, $25 in credit. A bunch of you are in Pewter Report leagues. We've got those going, but also I just want to talk about some of the other things that Underdog Fantasy has going on that you might not know about. You get $25 in credit if you do this sign up. Use that promo code Pewter. Takes you a minute. That's it. You have an Underdog Fantasy account. Boom. What you can sign up for is you can jump into the Puppy 3. It's a best ball league that Underdog has that is a $5 entry for $1 million in prizes. So you can basically enter to win $1 million for free, because they're giving you $25 of credit. In fact, you can make 5 entries to win $1 million for free because you have $25. Yes. Or you can do the Best Ball Mania 2, which is another NFL 2021 best ball season league that you can jump into. It's $3.5 million in prizes. $1 million goes to first place. So there's a lot of payouts after that. That's a $25 entry. So again, you can enter these for free because they give you $25 to play, or you can go right to the big dog, $250 entry, and you get chances to win. It's a 20-round draft, $100K to first place. Again, they've just a lot of opportunities. Just go to Underdog Fantasy's main page, check out what they do. They give you $25 in credit, so make sure you sign up with that promo code Pewter. Helps us out, helps you out, helps them out. It's great stuff with Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you check it out. So we talked about a lot of the players who played well tonight, Scott, and stood out defensively. Were there players who frustrated you or disappointed you with what you saw defensively for the Bucs tonight? I know we mentioned a couple linebackers who I'm just still struggling to see. I thought it would be closer between them and Kevin Minter for linebacker 3, and I don't see it.
Kevin Minter played really well. I mean, I think he's
clearly the third best. Yeah.
I would say, I looked for Joe Jones to maybe have a little bit more momentum coming into this game after his pick six. I just didn't think he stood out. And this was a game
tackles.
that he needed to stand out. And Chris Wilcox, I haven't seen much of him to be excited about in practice and certainly in the game.
When you get beat for a touchdown in your limited opportunity. And Nate Brooks, same thing. Nate Brooks needed a big game tonight. He has the huge offsides on the third down stop. Then he gives up the touchdown. How are you offsides as a corner on third down? I mean, come on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's one of those things that it's just like, dude, like, you go a whole season and your team doesn't have a corner to be offside one time. Like,
and I will say too that there was a noticeable drop off from Khalil Davis and Raheem Nunez-Roches and Pat O'Connor between that 3-man defensive line, and then the next group.
Kobe.
With Kobe Smith, with
Benning
Potoahi and Jeremiah Ledbetter. I thought that threesome right there was that trio was really lackluster in my opinion in terms of stopping the run, making plays. It was night and day between the first group and then the second group in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the Bucs D line does have kind of a high floor. It's kind of a high floor group for the most part. Benning's had some good plays, honestly. But you're right. Those guys, Kobe especially. I mean, he's clearly going to be one of the 5 on tomorrow. I bet. Yeah. And TJ Simmons is going to be one of the 5 too. Scott.
Receiver. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, come on, buddy. You get like 2 opportunities. You don't get. It's like Josh Pearson's story.
It's like Josh Pearson, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, come on, like. So those things were not good at all. Yeah, I agree with you. And Wilcox, here's the thing. It's going to be Antonio Hamilton, I think, and then they might keep 6 corners and D. Delaney. But if they keep 6 corners, then I didn't think Javon Hagan helped himself tonight. Again, he tackled better tonight, I thought.
Right.
But late, I mean, there's a floater to the sideline, and he still didn't get there in time to break up the ball on that third down. I think he's good enough to make the team, but this team, that's hard. I don't know that he's there. And if Cockrell can be your hybrid 4th emergency safety and be a corner, I think you only carry 3 safeties on game day. So it seems like Bruce Arians keeps talking up D. Delaney, but to me, Antonio Hamilton is – I know that Delaney's been bad, but Hamilton is like a proven thing on special teams. Yeah. He's played all 4 phases for a lot of his career. He's played defense. Now he's playing in the slot, and it's been great. I mean, like, he's not giving up anything uncontested in practices. He's not giving up any – like – I just feel like he checks a lot of boxes, and he's clearly better than D. Delaney.
I agree. And we have a couple guys, Eric Colson's one of them, talking about Elijah Ponder. You and I both were talking about him in the 4th quarter, and I think that he's done enough to earn a practice squad spot.
I mean, third down stop, boom, right in the red zone, like huge play. 4th down stop, boom, in the red zone, short yardage. Really impressive. 2 totally different types of runs, too, and he played them both great. I think he's been really good. He is not a great, tremendous athlete, but he's got enough of the, like, if you've heard me talk about the 4 pillars of pass rush athleticism, like he's got a little bit of burst and a little bit of like flexibility and a little bit of change of direction to him. Anything over a long distance, you're going to be disappointed.
Right. Yeah.
But over short bursts, I think there's enough there where I would say, to me, he's been much better than Quentin Bell, much better than Ladarius Hamilton. Cam Gill's barely played. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with Cam Gill. Maybe IR. I don't know. But that would be Ponder would be the edge guy I want to keep on the practice squad, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Troymaine Pope was hurt tonight, Nate Pitts. I see you talking about Troymaine Pope.
Yeah.
Here's another guy that's going to be gone early next week, CJ Prosise.
Yeah.
Did he play tonight,
Yeah,
Scott?
He had a catch. He had like an 11-yard catch or 10-yard catch, something like that. But
in the 4th quarter? He didn't even have a carry?
No.
Oh, my goodness.
It's because they keep feeding the very productive Keyshawn Vaughn the ball. That's what it's all about.
Look, I mean, Gio Bernard had 1 carry and got half a yard. I mean, it was you can't get a half a yard or like whatever, 1 yard on 4th. Oh, my gosh. It was
Well, really the thing is you got to keep in mind, too, it's like this team wanted to see Kyle Trask throw the ball, right? They just didn't run the ball at all. It had nothing to do with the score. They could have, if they wanted to see CJ Prosise, they could have, featured him a little bit, but they didn't want to. They wanted to see Kyle Trask throw the football.
Right. Speaking of things that get featured, Scott, let's talk a little bit about our friends over at Manscaped.
Oh, well, John, it's time for game balls then, right?
Oh, it is time for game balls.
It is time for game balls.
And I'm going to bring Matt Matera in to give you his game balls as well.
Okay, that's fantastic.
jump in here and talk about, we're doing some Manscaped
Game balls presented by Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.
Wow. Should we do you want to do the game balls first, or you want me to talk about Manscaped first?
Let's talk about Manscaped. Then we're gonna do the game balls, John.
All right. Manscaped, the big thing you got to know is the Performance Package 4.0, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you about is it weird that we're doing the Manscaped read with Matt and I both? It's like, hey.
Well, actually, listen, John, let me handle this. I've got a new read here for us.
Oh, okay.
Do you like playing with balls?
No, come on.
No, I'm not talking about footballs. I mean your balls. Our friends at Manscaped, the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming, want you to shave your pubes with the best Tom Brady of ball trimmers, the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. That's this bad boy right here. Only the GOAT technology for the greatest balls of all time. When you're trying to get into the end zone, make sure that you use the right tools for the job and choose Manscaped. 2 million men worldwide trust them. So join the movement with our exclusive offer using the promo code PEWTER on manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. So let me get this banner up here because this is important. Everybody needs to click on that 20% off with the promo code PEWTER so they can save money on Manscaped. The world's starting to open, and the Performance Package 4.0 for Manscaped is here to help you get ready. Inside, you're going to find the brand new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver, the Ball Deodorant, the Crop Reviver toner, plus 2 free gifts. And that's the Performance Boxer Briefs and the Shed Travel Bag, which is a very nice travel bag. Got it right here.
I got one myself. Big fan. Comes in very handy.
It does. The Performance Package 4.0 for Manscaped is the perfect package for your package and a great key for the great grooming and hygiene routine to make sure that your crotch doesn't look like Troy Polamalu. The brand new Lawnmower 4.0 is here to make your defense go to the next level. This 4th generation trimmer features cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has got a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multi-function on and off switch that can engage with the travel lock, and it gives you the ability to turn on the 4,000K LED spotlight on and off when you need the more precise shave. Did I mention that it's waterproof too? It is. So this package comes with the Weed Whacker, which is to chop the worst weeds up top and in both of your ears and nose. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof, and it's got a 360-degree rotary dual blade system. I use it. No snags, no tears from that. It beats plucking your nose hairs. So get 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code PEWTER at manscaped.com. They've also thrown in 2 free gifts with their Performance 4.0 package, the Manscaped Boxers and the Travel Shed. I'm going to throw in another gift for you just in time for football season.
Oh, let's go.
White, black, or gray. All you got to do is just buy Manscaped products. Use the promo code PEWTER. Send me at sr@pewterreport.com your proof of purchase. Just forward that email to me. It's all you got to do. It doesn't have any of your financial information. Don't need it, don't want it, but it does have your address, which I do need to send you the free shirt. That includes free shipping and handling. So it's a free shirt for you, whether you buy Manscaped for yourself or as a gift for somebody else. So do it today. Use promo code PEWTER, save 20% off, and free shipping. Can't beat it.
That's a heck of a deal right there. You get some Pewter Report swag. Who wouldn't want that? I mean, you're already watching the podcast. You're already a fan. Why not get a shirt as well, too?
And you got cleanly shaven balls, too, man. It's a tremendous deal. It really is.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's go to game balls. Matt Matera, who is your game ball getter for this particular episode?
I mean, I think it kind of goes without saying. You guys were already talking about it, but Pat O'Connor was hands down the best player on the field tonight. I mean, he played like his hair was on fire. He was involved throughout the entire game. Tackles in the backfield, tackles for loss. He got a sack on the play. I mean, he was saying it after the game today too, where he's been in this situation for the last 5 years that he's been in the league. Like, this is his time to shine. This is his opportunity to show that he should be on this team. Every year's a tryout for a guy like him who's mostly going to play special teams, not going to get a ton of reps on defense. And I thought the entire defensive line as a whole was great. I'm not going to name every single person because there's other game balls to give around.
Yep.
But I mean, his imprint on the game, you could feel it everywhere. And just like he set the tone for the defense tonight. Him and Joe Tryon were just two guys that were involved on so many different plays. He was so quick to get into the backfield. And we saw legit improvement from a week ago where he was getting into the backfield and not making the stops to this week. As many missed tackles that the Bucs were having, Pat O'Connor wasn't one of those guys. He was wrapping up. He was finishing the play. So we saw a literal step forward in the progression of his game. And that's why Bruce Arians said that he's a lock to make this team.
That's right. Yeah, and he deserves it. Matt, how about your this might be a little tougher challenge here, but who is your offensive game ball going to?
Yeah, I don't really think too many people really deserve a game ball, especially in these type of situations. You try to look for like a skill player that really stood out, and that wasn't necessarily the case. So I'm going to go to the offensive line, and again, this is what John was talking about too, where important backups that need to have a good game did have a good game. And I thought Josh Wells was that type of guy. Yeah. He pass blocked really well. Overall, I thought he was efficient blocking up front. He was picking up blitzes when they were coming his way. I think the biggest thing for an offensive lineman, as you know, is when we're not really talking about him too much, that's normally a good thing.
That's right.
I mean, we saw O.J. Howard line up pretty much, on the edge as well, and he allowed a sack. And that wasn't the case for Josh Wells. So there were obviously, when you only scored 3 points, there's not too much to take away on that side of the ball. But Josh Wells, you got to be happy about where he is on this team as the primary backup at offensive tackle. I think going into the season, that first week against Dallas, if there's a situation where he has to come in, you feel pretty good about it based on what he did tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm going to give you my game balls for tonight, and then we'll have John kind of wrap up with his. So for my game balls tonight, I'm going to go on the defensive side, and there's no surprise. Joe Tryon Shoyinka, right? This guy just dominated in that 2-minute drill, got a sack. He's only going to get better. We've talked about him kind of ad nauseum on this show, and rightly so, because he did have a very good showing in that first half with 3 tackles and the sack. I would say on the offensive side of the ball, I would naturally be more inclined to go with Blaine Gabbard because I thought he played really good tonight. And if you factor in those 2 drops by O.J. Howard, if he catches those balls, Blaine has a pretty fantastic night. I'm inclined to also say Josh Leverett because I thought he was under duress, right? Having to play that emergency center role. And I think he played it okay. If you had gone to Josh Leverett at the start of training camp and say, do you think you'll be playing center for the entire game in the second preseason game? He would say no. And of course, everybody on the team would say no, but that's exactly, what transpired. And I thought he did okay, but in reality, my game ball is going to go to Tanner Hudson because this was a guy that I think the pressure was on him a little bit, that he had to play tonight with that sprained wrist that caused him to miss a couple days of practice this week and really kind of put his playing time, I think, in jeopardy to a degree. But he was a gamer. He showed some toughness. And I think that he's not the best blocker, but the fact that he decided to suit up and play, and not just play, but 6 catches, 74 yards, played really well. Yeah, I mean,
he's Mr.
Really,
August
really well.
For a reason.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that he knew that tight end 4 job was on the line, and he really kind of grabbed it almost by default because Cody McElroy would have gotten those reps had Tanner Hudson not played. So by Tanner playing, he got those opportunities, made the most of them. And then even Cody McElroy, when he had the opportunity to make a diving catch late in the game, and ended up being an interception because it bounced off his hands. So I think
Scott, that's a great point. I mean, Tanner didn't even really practice at all this week with that wrist injury. So the fact that he went out there and he produced, right? It wasn't just like that he showed up and played the full 60 minutes. I believe he was the leader again in receiving yards and catches
for
the
catches,
Bucs. And
74 yards. Yep.
Yeah, and sure, maybe it gets a little clouded because of the fumble, but as we all saw, it really did not look like a fumble. And then, like you said, McElroy goes out there, and a couple of guys too, all these drops.
Yeah.
And it ruins his chances to make the team in a situation like that. Tyler Johnson, I thought, played very well too. He was big in the beginning of the game and kind of tapered off after that as well. But I think it was one of those things where the Bucs offense, it was just rolling downhill in all the negative ways. It's almost like when you buy a new gaming console or PlayStation or Xbox and you hook it up to your TV and you put it on HDMI 1 or HDMI 2, and no matter what you do, it's not getting to the game itself. And you're like, what's going on here?
Right.
No matter what you try, it just doesn't work. And that, I think, was the case for the offense today, in the sense of no matter what they did, they fire off some passes, they get dropped. Then the guys get open, the pass is a little too long or a little too wide, and Scotty Miller can't stay in bounds.
Yeah.
They get that corrected. Now the offensive line isn't blocking, and Kyle Trask gets sacked. I think it was a big issue with that. Also, maybe not a game ball, but I'm surprised you didn't maybe you already did. I'm not sure if you gave a shout out to your boy Ryan Suckup hitting a 49-yard field goal.
Yes.
That was big. People have been paying attention to him and Jose B at practice, but that was a small little bright spot for the offensive / special teams side of the ball.
Yep. Carl Jackson, we don't have any word on Jordan Whitehead. We might get some more clarification tomorrow, but it's day-to-day with an injury. Bruce is not really talking about injuries since it's the preseason. He doesn't have to, so we're not sure if it's the shoulder or if it's something else. We'll have to see. Is John there? Is he going to give us his game balls as well?
Yeah, let's get John. You want to
All
give your game ball?
All right, John. Sure. We've got the final edition of Game Balls presented by Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.
These are mine.
Okay. I think I put them in my bag.
All right. John Lidger returns to wrap up the show with our Pewter Report Game Balls, defense and offense. John, who you got?
Well, defensively, I'm going to go Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. I don't know who you guys picked already, so I apologize. Obviously, Pat O'Connor was a beast. I know Matt picked him. I did hear that. Tryon-Shoyinka, again, just continue to be impressed and blown away by what he's bringing to the table. I think that he is going to be a dangerous player, and I hope I hope he gets enough reps for it to be this season.
Yeah.
Offensively,
Keyshawn Vaughn.
probably not going to go Keyshawn Vaughn. Wait, who did you go with?
I gave some props to Blaine Gabbard naturally,
but
I gave some props to Nick Leverett. But I went with Tanner Hudson because
I'm going with Blaine Gabbard.
I thought Tanner Hudson showed some balls by going out there playing on the sprained wrist. And
so you're trying to keep with the theme.
Well, I wasn't trying to. He did that, not me.
I think Blaine Gabbard showed some balls by going out there and being the only one of 11 dudes that actually did his job.
That's true. That's a fact.
No, I thought Blaine Gabbard really just played well. So, I mean, I again, if he 6-7 dropbacks and the 4 that went bad weren't his fault. I don't know,
highest rated quarterback in the Bucs preseason, Joe. After 2
I don't know
games.
about all that, but I just know,
It's fact. I'm just saying.
Again, he did what he needed to do tonight, which was good. So I give him props. But special team shout out Ryan Suckup for nailing the field goal that he nailed, because like to see that. But more than anything, can we just talk about Bradley Pinion's tackle? I mean, what? That was the play of the night, and I know it got called back to the penalty.
If only he would have made that, a 58-yard kick or a 68-5-yard or whatever the hell it was.
Oh my God!
When
that was at the very end, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We were already in the tunnel when that happened. We were already in the elevator.
It was a 58-yard attempt because he's like the long distance kicker. You know.
Well, I thought that his tackle was, if he'd have made the long distance kick, it's over. We're renaming it the Bradley Pinion Manscaped Game Balls.
That's true. Yes.
But what a tackle, and what to track him down, that was just a heck of a play. That was amazing. And watching him from the press box was sweet. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But he's really is the savior of that kickoff coverage group, because if he doesn't put the ball in the back of the end zone, they're giving up a
61-yard attempt. That's right.
Yeah. And if not for him, they're giving up touchdowns. So 61-yard kick. I mean, I know Arians had some choice words for him, but he was mostly joking after the game. But yeah, those would be my guys, Scott. I think that
Okay.
that's the guys that stood out to me tonight when I was watching.
So an interesting caveat this year, John, and we'll wrap up with this.
Mhm.
Usually the Bucs, well, not just the Bucs, every fourth preseason game for the NFL is awful because it's this type of performance from these types of players.
Yeah, that's what tonight was.
Yes. So this is really like preseason 4, but since there's no fourth preseason game and you have that extra bye week between the start of the regular season, what Bruce Arians has elected to do, and probably some other coaches around the league, although we have television on the Buccaneers, but what Bruce Arians has elected to do is play the starters at least a half in this next game because he wants
Did he
them
say a
used
half?
to the
I
yes.
missed that.
He wants them to get up to game speed because they're going to have 2 weeks off before the Dallas Cowboys come into town for September 9th and that season opener. So I think it's a good call for Bruce because if you do get some guys that are dinged up or whatever, unless it's something serious, you got 2 weeks to recover. We saw even Jordan Whitehead take a big shot to the shoulder and really, hurt that shoulder. Had the Super Bowl been the next week, Whitehead probably doesn't play, but because he had the 2 weeks off, he was able to go. Same thing with Antonio Brown, missed the NFC Championship game, but that extra week off allowed the knee to rest up. He caught the touchdown in the Super Bowl, was a big play. So I think it's a good move by Bruce Arians trying to use this game, game 3 at Houston next Saturday night, as the tune-up for the starters. And we'll see how they fare, hopefully better than the backups did tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I think that is not – that's a big deal then. I mean, that game's a big deal. If they're playing half, then, yeah, we're talking about a big deal game. And
yeah,
but you have a good week of practice, and that how they play in that game will be more important than anything else we've obviously talked about this preseason, this training camp, no matter what. Because, yeah, that's going to be a strong indicator to how they come out, how they execute, what's changed, what hasn't.
Right.
Yeah, they need to play really well.
2 things I'm looking
and
for.
Remember, too, this – I'm sorry to interrupt you, Scott. They're also playing what I believe will be the worst team in the NFL
by far.
Season. Like Houston is atrocious, and they have distractions, and they're just bad from top to bottom in every way.
Houston Trashins. I'm nicknaming them the Trashins rather than the Texans.
You got to go out and kick that team's butt. Like
you do, yeah. So the 2 things I'm looking for next week are improved running game. I want to see the starters run the ball. This is not going to be a run-first offense. Don't get it twisted. But they have to be able to run the ball efficiently. What I mean by that is around 4 yards a carry. Mm-hmm. They have to average that, not this less than 2 yard per carry crap we've seen in these 2 preseason games. Number 2, better coverage on kickoff and punt returns. Special teams still matters in the NFL. Maybe not so much on Bradley Pinion's kickoffs because a lot of them go through the end zone, but on punt returns, this team was not good. When Pinion did not kick the ball deep enough into the end zone and teams returned it. Where did the Bucs rank in kickoff coverage last year, John?
Dead last. All time.
All time, dead last. Okay, so they have work to do. So
NFL history.
Yes, so we're going to see some of these special teams guys out there on the starting kickoff and punt return. Starting kickoff coverage and punt coverage units. However, we're also going to see the starters out there because guys like Sean Murphy-Bunting and Carlton Davis, they're on the coverage teams. So I want to see how the coverage teams do. I want to see how the running game does. Those are 2 things I'm looking for.
Yep,
on Saturday.
Those will be big and important things for sure. I really just want to see Brady and the protection. I mean, and not drops. I obviously still want to see drops, but. Can they execute? Can they stop shooting themselves in the foot with protection issues and with drop passes? I mean, those are going to be the biggest things to me. They can do those things, great. I think the defense is going to be good this season. I think that they have a lot more confidence than they've had in the past. The offense will be best in the league if they don't shoot themselves in the foot all the time. I really believe that. So we'll see. I mean, there's still a lot. I know that it doesn't seem like it, but I still think this team has to come out and feel like they have a lot to prove because it's been pretty bad in both these preseason games, but small sample sizes. I'm not freaking out or anything. But yeah, there's more questions than you'd like just on execution, not on you have the players you need, you have the coaches you need, other than maybe Keith Armstrong. Good point, Eric Olson. We'll see about Garrett. Let's tackle this maybe this week on the pod, but also after this 3rd preseason game. We'll talk more about this some. TJ Fuller said, is it just me or do John and Matt look like they are the dudes from Step Brothers when they do their post-game pod? First of all, post game pod. So like when we're sitting here, you mean like when they say they're going to interview as a team, like that part? Like, is that what? Because I mean, I don't think I look like either of the actors in that movie, and I don't think Matt looks like either of the actors in that movie. But I get the point, though, TJ. I get the point. It's a good one. All right, so tomorrow we're off, and then Monday we'll be back on the podcast at 4 p.m. Eastern, and we'll podcasts all throughout the week next week, talking about the practices for the Bucs, but also previewing that upcoming preseason game, and really talking a lot about we'll have 5 cuts coming up probably tomorrow and Monday, and we'll also be previewing like what's coming.
Yes,
the regular season, what this roster is going to look like, where the potential question marks are. We'll start to get into the state of the Cowboys as well, and the NFC as well as we've
got some exciting news coming up that we'll share with you next week about the Pewter Report podcast.
Yeah,
lots
Pewter
of
Report
exciting
podcast,
details.
Pewter Report TV. Yep, we're going to have some great details about more opportunities to catch us doing this type of video and audio content. It's going to be really fun stuff. So as always, subscribe to the Pewter Report TV YouTube channel. Hopefully we hit 5K during this show. We're very close if we didn't hit it during this show. Be the 5,000 subscriber if you're not already. Get over there, subscribe to the Pewter Report TV YouTube channel, hit that like button, hit the the bell to get the notifications for when we go live so you don't miss any of the shows. And most importantly, text and tell a friend and a family member that likes the Bucs about the Pewter Report podcast, because you all are our voice. You are our best strategy to getting in front of more people.
Absolutely.
More people means better content and more content.
I do have one more thing to say real quick. We laid Mark Cook to rest yesterday. The Pewter Report staff was there at Mark's funeral. Brian Ford from the Buccaneers, Jason Light from the Buccaneers, the Bucs public relations staff was there Thursday at the viewing, and just a classy move by the Buccaneer organization to send representatives out there for Mark's funeral. He was very highly thought of inside the organization at the Advent Health Training Center by the players, the coaches, the front office, the public relations staff. Everybody in that building loved Mark Cook. It's great to see. Also great to see you Buccaneer fans out there supporting Mark Cook's family and hitting the goal of over $30,000 raised to cover bills and expenses and help support the family. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of Pewter Report's heart, for helping out the Cook family with your generous donations. We appreciate it greatly.
Absolutely. Great stuff by y'all. Y'all really are the truth. I was telling Matt this in the press box tonight. Bucs fans are just a one of a kind. I mean, people don't even know that are outside here, and that's okay. They don't need to know, but we know. Like, y'all are awesome, truly. You make also game days fun on the TL, like on the timeline on Twitter. Like, I'm like, other fan bases are trying to like take the bridge as soon as something bad goes on. Bucs fans have like a million inside jokes for every bad thing that happens during the game, and they're like laughing through the pain. I'm like, it's great. I love it. Cracks me up. But anyway, next week we'll be back on the podcast Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you catch us there, and make sure you check out all the great post-game content tonight. And tomorrow we'll have more content coming from this game and observations looking forward for the team as well over at pewterreport.com. Until then, thanks so much for listening to another edition of the Pewter Report Podcast. Out.